Like, never like, never like, never like.
Hey guys, my name's Arena. For those of you that are new here, thank you for joining in. And if you're already a subscriber, thanks so much for coming back. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you do, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so it helps someone else. Otherwise, let's get on with it. So today's video is a list of the things that I do that keep me focused, sharp, and just kind of on my game. So these are just ideas that have really worked for me. And it's more the past year where I've been really committed to and just very, very intentional in how I feel and making sure that I'm rested and making sure that I look after myself and all that sort of thing. So a few of the things that have helped me, number one has been sleep. Sleep is huge. The more I learn and the more I educate myself about sleep and how needed it is, the more kind of passionate I become about getting really good quality sleep. I've got probably about 4 sleep apps. I've gone overboard with it, yes, I know, but they've all really helped me learn a lot about, what helps and what doesn't. So sleep hygiene is really, really important. And the kind of things that I'm talking about when I say this is having, so number one, I am a workaholic. I'm going to be honest. I used to literally be working until 10 o'clock at night. Sometimes I would not stop working until I literally went to bed. I'd be showering, then going back on my laptop, and just my whole life was far too unbalanced. So one of the things I realized was being affected, and I used to sleep so badly. It was like how I felt. I just never felt rested. I never felt like I was catching a break. Just felt drained a lot of the time and extra tired. So one of the things I did is I decided I was going to focus on my sleep. Now the sleep apps, they were full of kind of advice and recommendations and things, and it actually started to help me to I was trying different things, and I realized what works for me. And what works for me to have good sleep hygiene is number one, at 8 p.m. This is my chosen time because it works well for my circadian rhythm. 8 p.m. I will have a shower, and I'm literally washing off my day, my work. From the minute I have that shower, the rest of my evening is home and is my personal time, and no work will get in the way of that. Now I'm talking about weekdays here, but 8 p.m. in the week when I'm working, I will use that shower to switch off from work mode into home mode. Now after 8 p.m. everything I do will be more relaxing, unwinding. I'll have relaxing music playing in the background. I'll do my skincare, and certainly an hour before bed, which tends to be between 10 to 10:30, that last hour, there's no TV, there's no phones, there's no stimulation, overstimulation of the mind. I have found that in itself, and maybe I might read a little bit, but anything I do is not going to be high intensity or anything like that. And just a short, most nights I do a bed yoga. It's like a 10-minute yoga in bed, just little stretches just to unwind my body and mind. And that little sequence, so 8 p.m. until I go to sleep, is just a very calm and zen time in the evening for me. That has worked miracles for my sleep, and I am quite consistent in keeping to that schedule, which again has helped me stick to it. Obviously if things come up and I've got to go for dinner and I've got other commitments, and that's fine, that will happen now and again. I just get back to it once I've completed whatever change to my schedule had to happen. The other thing I have personally implemented is I don't eat later than 4 p.m. 4 p.m. is my last meal. Now this one's a bit of a strange one because I think it is quite hard to, you've got to be really committed to this because, and I feel a bit not guilty, but I feel a bit bad when I talk about this because I don't really have lots of people, or I don't have a lot of I've got the freedom to design my day the way I want to design it, essentially, is what I'm saying. So it is easy because I'm on my own. I don't have kids running around. I don't have a husband to come home to. I don't have to entertain a lot of people. And so my last meal tends to be between 3 and 4. 4 p.m. is my time for my last meal of the day. This also means there's no, my body's not trying to digest throughout the night. If I eat something a little bit heavy, it's not going to be kind of overworking, trying to do all that stuff. What I found is I'm a lot more relaxed when I go to bed, and it seems to work really, really well for me. And the reason why I looked into this is because I watched a YouTube talk with, I'll link it below, but it was ever so interesting. It was about aging and about turning back the clock and things like that. And there was quite a few things in that talk that I found really interesting. Excuse that, that's my washing machine in the background, I'm so sorry. But we're gonna have to roll with it. I learned a lot of that talk where I thought, you know what, this sounds like there's really good evidence as to this working in our favor as human beings, to keep us healthy, to keep us, young and functioning well. So I listened to that talk and then I implemented a few things out of that. But 4 p.m. being my last meal is something that's also worked really well for me. And I feel like when I wake up, I feel quite fresh. I can get out of bed. I don't worry. I don't feel anxious. I don't feel lethargic. It's like it's freed my body to just do its normal thing and not have other stuff going on at the same time. The other thing that I am very mindful and good with is my diet. So I really do incorporate for me, vegetables first and foremost, and then fruit second, and protein. These are the main staples in my diet. And carbohydrate, again, I know there's all this talk about what the diet should be or whatever, but I'm a big believer in listening to our own bodies, and if it feels good, if it feels like it, if we feel good in what we're doing, we should keep doing it. So I'm big in listening to my body and trying things out, and if they make me feel good, if I feel more energetic, if I feel healthier as a result of it, I'm going to keep doing it. So yeah, I just base my diet largely on fruits and vegetables and protein. I try and eat organic where I can. Some days I'm very successful, some days not as successful, but yeah, diet's really important, and so I'm very mindful about that. And processed, I've largely cut out processed cakes, sugar. I'm very aware of those things. I don't deny myself those things if I go out for dinner, or if I do have plans. That's it's just part of life. I don't want to not have the other things that make me feel happy and I enjoy. So I do still have if I go out with my friends, I will still eat and indulge a little bit. I may just have that dessert and whatever, but that's not the norm. That's the special occasions, the odd time when I'm going out for dinner, for a special dinner. If I go out just for food, regular food, then I'll just make better choices, and don't have the big piled food with loads of crap on it. So diet, I've been a lot more mindful of that as well. There have been so many improvements I've felt within myself that it is mind-blowing, to say the least. But I don't want to recommend a certain diet to anybody. I don't want to recommend that you do what I do. I recommend that we listen to our own bodies, and if something doesn't make us feel good, don't do it to yourself. Don't self-harm just to keep up with the world around you. And just to add on to that, the other thing that I have learned is to stop caring quite so much to the pressures around me. If someone thinks that me not watching TV before bed is just lame and they could never be friends with me, then that's absolutely fine, because I'm not living for you. I'm living for myself and for what feels right in my own body. If someone, the other thing I don't do is I don't drink alcohol. Last year I decided this year I wasn't going to do it. I have been so happy. There's nothing I miss about it. I will have a mocktail if I'm out in a social situation. It makes no difference to me. I don't crave alcohol. I was never like that. It's just I've learned a lot about the negative effects of alcohol on the body, and the anxiety it leaves you with, the hangovers, all that stuff. I don't miss it. I don't want it. So for me, I don't drink. And if someone was to have a problem with that, then you know, that's not my concern. And again, letting go of expectations and just learning to take care of my body in the way I need to has been a big learning curve for me as well. I do try and get the 8 hours sleep as well. I try and have a consistent bedtime, and I tend to wake up, I tend to go to bed for about 10:30, and I tend to wake up for about 6:30. And my body naturally does that now, which is pretty amazing. I always wake up at the same time, even though I've got backup alarm just in case. I wake up at that time anyway, and that's really cool. The other thing that I don't do anymore now is I don't drink coffee throughout the day. I used to drink a lot of coffee. Like, I used to be 3-4 coffees throughout the day. There was often no need, and actually the crazy thing is that once I had that coffee, I would get this like awful crash that I needed another coffee to keep going. And that was a very it wasn't actually created the outcome that I wanted, which was to have the right level of energy. I think the other thing I used to do, because I drive, like I mentioned before, is I would stop off at a Starbucks, and because I'm stopping there, I would just get a coffee. It sounds really weird. It's like, why don't you just not have a coffee? I can't explain it. It's just when I used to stop there, force habit, I would get a coffee. And I don't know why I wouldn't think, say, a decaf. Don't ask me. But it was just a vicious cycle. So now I don't have coffee. I only have one coffee in the morning. If I do end up having a coffee because I just fancy one, it will be decaf. It won't be actual coffee. But sometimes I like a warm drink to just keep me going, and I might just go for a decaf. So that's been a big change. That's helped massively. I don't get those massive crashes. I've also learned about what my body natural rhythm is. So my body naturally is going to have peaks and is going to have dips. And I've learned to work with that rather than try and medicate it. So whereas normally if I felt tired, I'd go have a coffee. Now I'm aware of the fact that, 2 p.m. I'm going to get the dip. I'm aware of what my body's going to do, and I work with it. So I may do tasks that are more relaxing for that time, and I don't have to think so hard. And I might do my optimal tasks earlier in the day, or I might prepare better for the dips. And I just work with my body's natural rhythm rather than try and force it into being something that it's not naturally happy being, if that makes sense. And an app that actually helped me quite a bit with that is an app called Rise Sleep. If you've heard of it, you probably know it's amazing. It actually tells you where your dips and your highs throughout the day are. As I started to use this app, I really wasn't like paying attention to this stuff, and all of a sudden it was telling me, you're coming up to your dip, and I'd be like, oh, okay, so I feel tired. Usually around the time where it's telling me that, I feel really tired. And that dip's gonna last for so long, and then I'm gonna go back into a peak again. And I've stopped resisting that. I just work along with the natural rhythm that I know is just coming. And it's just nice because I know I'm not forcing my body into anything that it doesn't want to do. Because what I used to find is anytime I'm trying to force myself to be somewhere or feel more energetic, or I would be using things, and then I would always get a crash, whether it's coffee, whether it's trying to have an energy drink or anything like that. It's giving you a bigger crash. So you're not overcoming the problem, you're just actually creating a bigger problem than you had in the first place. Another thing that I'm working really hard on, it's not as easy, is when I wake up in the morning for that first hour, at least 30 minutes, is not picking up my phone. This is really hard, and I fail some days still. I've just got this habit of looking at my phone, and then I start to go into work mode, and I fail more than I succeed. But I do like it when I wake up and I just get up and be grateful and go into the shower and just at least have that shower and have a bit of time getting ready where I'm not checking what's going on in the world. I'm not checking my messages. I'm not checking anything like that. I recommend to try and do that for anyone that can. I'm working on this still. So those are just a few of the things that I do to keep me focused, to keep me well charged, to keep me rested, and so on and so forth. It's not an overnight thing. It wasn't an overnight thing. These things kind of happened individually, and then I put them together, and then it just kind of kept on going. And the more I was seeing good results, the more motivated I was to keep it going. I think if I was to try and do all of these things at once, which I have tried doing in the past and failed miserably, I would just fail miserably. So I personally believe in implementing one thing and just seeing the results and then adding another thing, and then once you're happy with that, and just not like overloading myself with lots of, you know, good habits. But these are some of the things. So for example, if you struggle with sleep and you know that you're not getting good rest, and I honestly feel like sleep is the one thing that if we give ourselves, it will impact so many other things. Like, I'm better at my job, I'm better at the tasks that I set myself, I've got more energy throughout the day, I don't crave crappy foods. So even keeping a good diet is so much better as a result of sleep, good sleep. Just my mind is better, my energy level is better, just all these ticks that have kind of resulted as a result of getting sleep right first. So I would, you know, I would suggest if anybody's struggling in lots and lots of areas, maybe starting with sleep. And then it just makes the rest easier, because diet's quite hard. Like, I struggled with diet for quite a long time, as in I'd eat late at night, and I'd eat processed sugary things, like crave cakes. Like, I remember I would say to my friends all the time, I'd be like, I just cannot do the evening thing where I don't pick out a cake and eat it late at night. It was a real addiction for me. So I definitely feel like sleep helped me, so that I'm not craving the caffeine, I'm not craving the sugars, I'm not craving the bad foods to keep me going throughout the day. Then I cut out the caffeine, which was stopping those crashes. Then the processed foods were stopping those crashes. So just slowly but surely, I have enough that I don't need to medicate and like mask tiredness and things like that with other solutions. I hope this makes sense, and I hope if you find anything useful in this, please share. Or if you've tried other things outside of this and they've helped you on top of this, please share with my followers. Please share with me. I'm always interested, and I hope you've enjoyed. I'll see you in my next one. Have a great day, guys.
I never let